Welcome to the Marty Show, hosted by me, Marty Shomo, and today we'll be talking about retro games.
I'm Shiloh Harrison.
I'm Diego Forrest.
I'm Ashton.
Hi, Ashton.
So, Marty, you wanted to talk about why you think retro games are so important, 80s games specifically.
Well,
Why do you think that?
I believe that they should be played more since they are the games that started and inspired the games that we play today. You know,
That's a good
Resident Evil, Fortnite,
Okay.
and created brand new genres.
Why
you
does
know?
that mean that people should play them? Because just because they inspired games doesn't mean that they should be played nowadays.
Well, it's not only inspired, but it's like the games that started the genres. They should play it and experience it how it first was,
Well, I mean,
and understand how it has evolved from that when it was first created to what it is now.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if they're inspired, then that means they're good enough to incite people to want to make more of the same thing.
I mean, you can be inspired by something that's pretty bad at the same time.
Yeah, but like,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be so successful. if
Okay,
it's-
another thing though is that retro games are like really hard, or a lot of them are really hard. I don't think that a lot of modern gamers nowadays would be able to take that kind of challenge, unless they're playing like Dark Souls or something.
I think that's a lie, because while there are, yes, hard games, most of the time a majority of the time, they're progressive, you know? Like, Castlevania is hard, but, like, it progresses. Like, stage 1 is not that hard. Or Contra, it's not that hard. It gets you used to the controls of the game, and then it gets harder and harder, obviously, like a video game.
Okay, but the entire reason that games were hard were because they were arcade games originally, and they wanted you to pay more and more money and insert more quarters, and so they wanted you to die a lot so that you would have to insert more quarters.
Yeah, but it's that, and also as you played more and more, you would get better and better at it, meaning you had to pay less and less. So if you got good, then you wouldn't have to spend as much money.
Yeah, but you have to spend money to get good.
Yeah, but everybody needs to do that.
Yeah.
Home console games had continues and stuff, you know, that didn't cost money.
That
Yeah,
is
but
true.
they're-
Limited and unlimited. And the point was, you had continues so you could get better at certain things, and if there was limited continues, then you would end wherever you got left off, and then you would continually get better and better.
I saw a video the other day. It was talking about why certain like Traveler's Tales games were super hard, and it was because the people who were like in this case Disney wanted to make it like as hard as possible, so that if you were borrowing the game, like you could like rent a game for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And they wanted to make it hard so that it was too hard to beat on your first attempt. And you'd have to buy the game in order to beat it. So it was like made intentionally difficult.
See, in those circumstances, that's a little thing we like to call stupid. And that's not a majority of the time. A majority of the time, it's not like that.
So what game would you recommend that someone who has only played the Fortnite and the Call of Duty and
Well, if it's
the
Fortnite and Call of
modern
Duty,
games-
then I would suggest shoot 'em up, like Contra or Commando or something like that, you know, along those lines. Because they would.
That's like first-person shooters and Contra. Even though they're both about shooting, they're still
Wait.
entirely different games.
What
Yeah,
about
but
Doom?
they're what?
What about Doom?
Okay, well, yeah, that's. But
Yeah.
like everybody knows the importance of Doom. That's
Yeah.
that's
You're
an
solid.
exception.
But even like other modern games, not specifically like shooters, I just mean like modern games in general. If they were like really into like Portal, like puzzle games, you know, what game would you recommend for them?
Tetris, because puzzle.
Tetris is not a puzzle.
I mean,
Tetris is
Tetris Attack is a good one too. But puzzle games are different. Puzzle games, they're supposed to be endless and not that hard.
wait, what's Tetris Attack about? I feel like I've heard about that.
It has literally
I don't-
nothing to do with Tetris. It's completely different. It was changed to Puzzle League. You know that? Like Pokemon Puzzle League. You know that style where it's like you have to match the blocks by switching them around and stuff? It was called Tetris Attack, so more people would buy it, but it has nothing to do with Tetris.
Yeah.
I mean, it has the same block characters, right?
No.
So
It's,
it literally just has nothing. to do with
it's like not Tetris at all, but they just called it Tetris Attack.
Why?
Money.
But yeah,
Yeah.
for marketing, so people would buy it instead of calling it like Puzzle League, and they would be like,
Was it created by the same guy? The Russian dude?
no, it was created by Nintendo. Because the first one, Tetris Attack, it was Yoshi themed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there's also just Yoshi.
That's a good puzzle game too. I like Yoshi. I have that on my Game Boy.
Yoshi Topic Turkey.
And Wario's Woods.
Oh, is that puzzle?
That's
Yeah.
also a puzzle game, yeah.
Actually, Wario's Woods is pretty much Yoshi. It's kind of like Yoshi and Tetris Attack, actually. Wait, actually, if they like, I just thought about it. If they like games like Portal, which require puzzle solving in that way, I would say something like the original Resident Evil. Because while yes, the original Resident Evil is a horror game, it's also like just most of the time a puzzle game.
It's not really
But that's
scary.
not like 80s retro one, you know? Like that's a little bit more
the Tinker
modern.
Tools?
I mean, like it's not modern by any means, but like it's a little bit more.
Came out in 1995.
The GameCube version would be good.
That's too modern though.
2004.
2000s. To ease them into it.
Shut up. Anyways,
Wow, that's cool, buddy.
Marty, what is your favorite bootleg video game?
bootleg. I don't play a lot
Granddad.
of bootleg.
Granddad said.
Granddad said this.
This isn't a
I have-
multiple choice, but you asked me for my personal opinion, not theirs.
Just
Hey, I mean, they can answer too if they want.
Oh, Barf Boy.
There was so many hilarious like bootleg because there's different kinds of bootleg games. Like there's ones that are just straight up like
Really
clones
crappy.
of other games, and then they just like
So
reskin
Mari.
a little bit. It's like okay, well, and there's another kind like Somari, which is like it's entirely original. Like, well, it's not entirely original, obviously, it's Somari, but like they built that so that it would be Sonic the Hedgehog running on an NES. But they just freaking made it Mario for some reason. But like, that actually took effort to do.
See, that's what I was gonna say. I don't really play a lot of bootlegs because most of the time they're really bad.
But I mean, like,
I
what do you
like
know about them?
I like certain bootlegs because sometimes there are. I think there's two kinds of bootlegs. There's the really crappy ones that are just made for pretty much giggles. But there's also the ones that have a lot of effort for some reason. Like one of my favorite examples is Donkey Kong Country 4, which is like it's not the whole game, but it's like a remake of the first Donkey Kong Country, like a few of the levels for the NES. And like I played it, it's really not that good. But like the fact that someone went through the effort of recreating all these levels and sprites
It's impressive.
for the NES, yeah, that too for the NES, it's impressive. And I think those kinds of bootlegs are cool.
They have
Or
all that
something
time
like
when they
another
decided to
Donkey
copy
Kong
it.
Country one is Super Donkey Kong 99, which was trying to make Donkey Kong Country for the Sega Genesis, which I think that one is actually way worse than DKC 4 because it's just really bad. But again, it's cool that it exists, and I think something like that with all that effort put in is much better than like Super Mario 14, where it's a random game and they just plop Mario's face onto the character. It's like those kinds are stupid, or like something like the Super Mario World remake for the NES.
Yeah,
like those
that
are
was
cool,
good.
and like it makes me think, why would they spend all their talent doing this when they could probably make their own game studio and like do their own things?
Actually, the people behind Somari did try to make their own original game, except it was just a reskin of their Sonic.
I know, I remember. I watched the Scott the Woz video where you
Yeah.
probably got that from, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. I watched that Scott the Last
Yeah,
video.
when bro says something smart, but you recognize the TikTok that is from.
And also, reproductions and bootlegs of games sometimes run better than the original game, like Resident Evil 4 on the PS2. Has faster load times and
Is
looks
that
better
like
overall.
anti-piracy measures? Were there anything like that were like slowing the game down and then they like cracked it or whatever? and
No,
made it?
that's only for modern games.
Okay, so what do you think made it faster? Like, do you?
Just the way they did it on the new disc, probably.
Yeah, probably it's like that, like coding.
So the bootleggers were better at making an optimized game than the original.
Hey, bootleggers make good stuff sometimes.
Sometimes.
I mean, like, especially in, like, music, like, there's a band, Bauhaus, where, like, one of their live albums is literally entirely done by a bootlegger, but when they got it, they were like, this is really good quality, so they just released it themselves. And in one of the songs, you can hear a security guard telling the dude to press the eject and give him the tape, which became the name of that album. Which is really cool, and it is really good audio quality for that one. So, like, I understand what you're saying. Sometimes they can do it so well that it comes out better than what it could have been.
Speaking of like audio and stuff, it is crazy what some developers were able to do with the hardware.
Pictionary.
Like I've already mentioned Traveler's Tales before, but like some of their games is impressive what they were able to do, and then also the Sonic games like
3D Glass.
Well, that was one of them. But like Sonic 2, for example, and Sonic 3 having like the 3D elements and the special stages, and Sonic CD, all of those like
I hate
impressive.
Sonic CD special stages. They're so.
Oh, you just suck at
I
that.
don't like them.
This guy.
Yeah, it's probably just because you're bad.
It probably is, but I don't like them.
Bad because bad.
Well, didn't you only play the mobile port?
Yeah.
Well,
No, wait, no, actually,
Who's gonna have like an actual Sega CD?
wait, no,
Oh, that's a topic for another episode.
hey, one day I'm going to get a Sega CD, and he's right. He's right. He's right.
Speaking of, what do you think of Sonic CD?
I like it.
I
It's
love
fun. It's
Sonic
cool.
CD.
The music.
It is
Pretty
good.
good.
Okay,
The music
American
is
or
incredible.
Japanese?
Both.
Or like
Both.
whatever.
Both.
I mean, I do prefer the Japanese one because
Both
I'm
is
just
good.
used to it more, but the American one is banger.
They're
Especially
both
Stardust
pretty good.
Speedway. I love
I prefer
it.
the Japanese, except for I think it's the one of the wacky workbench ones. That's really good. The boss theme for the US though is
The
definitely out there.
The bosses only last like 2 seconds. So it's
True,
like-
but that's only if you're good at it. If you suck at it, though, then it'll last longer.
It's really hard to suck at the Sonic CD boss fights. They're super easy.
Except for the pinball one. I did not like the pinball one.
It's easy.
Well, that's just because I kept getting unlucky. Like I don't
That's the-
know how much skill there is in pinball. Like,
It doesn't gamble.
You know what I love about old video games?
what
Why?
do you love about old video games?
The music.
We
True.
just
Like no, but more specifically, music
music
that
in general.
challenges the hardware. Stuff like Donkey Kong Country, where it's like it's instead of being something upbeat and happy like Mario, and obviously it sounds like it came from a Super Nintendo. It's more cinematic and sounds really, really good.
Aquatic
Yeah, but-
ambience.
Yeah, aquatic
that
ambience.
sounds like so. I mean,
Things that are like
random
I
idea, so,
like
it's-
that's definitely
it's
one of the
completely
things about the
different
Super Nintendo or like CD consoles that started coming out, where they were able to use the sound quality, like the power, to make just incredible sounds that challenge like anything else that existed at the time, movie scores,
Yeah.
albums released. Like that's definitely one of the best improvements that came with the '90s and the evolution into CDs and stuff. Was definitely the audio quality and the music. It's just incredible.
What do you guys think about 8-bit versus 16-bit?
I have no idea.
Because well, like
That's hard.
16-bit music is really good. I mean, obviously because it's like higher quality.
Yeah.
Because there's like more stuff that they can use to make it.
I
way more
think
dense. But,
I think it
8-bit
depends.
has like a
Depends
nice
on the
sound.
hardware.
I think just in general and depend. Well, I guess yeah, because like Sega Genesis versus Super Nintendo. But like I think it depends for 18-bit ver 18. Oh my god,
18-bit.
8-bit versus 16-bit.
Yeah.
Because it's like sometimes there are 8-bit like soundtracks that are way better than 16-bit ones, But then obviously there's 16-bit ones that are better than 8-bits. So I think it's just how you use the what's the word?
Sound
Hardware?
Hardware, thank you.
Yeah.
I was gonna say software, but that doesn't feel right. The hardware, that it depends on how you use the hardware. Like like something like Mario Bros. 3 on the NES. Like that definitely uses the hardware to like make great sounds. Or like Pictionary on the NES, where it definitely uses all it can for the music. But then also there's obviously 16-bit soundtracks that are better because it's better quality.
Yeah.
It also depends on like how well you want to use that specific type.
I was gonna say that too. Yeah, it depends on like how well you use
Yeah,
it.
because
or who
each
uses
composer
it.
is
If you
different.
can make stuff that's geared more towards 8-bit, or can make music that's more geared towards 16-bit.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
depends on what yeah.
Well, both 16-bit and 8-bit had their own limitations. Like I don't know this much about the actual like development behind the music and stuff, but what I do know is specifically for Ice Cap Zone's music in Sonic 3, the way that they did the chords, they couldn't do chords very easily because the way that it works is that each like instrument has its own channel. Well, not each instrument, but like only one channel can be, or one note can be playing for each channel. And they only had a limited amount of channels to use. So they had to use up like 4 or 3 different channels to make a chord. And so like they were limited in what they were able to do. But I mean, it's kind of that sort of simplicity that I think makes.
But didn't they just steal the music?
Technically, no.
No, I thought that
No.
the Jetsons made that song for Sonic, and then they decided to release
No,
it.
they
anyway.
didn't make it for Sonic 3, they just didn't release it, and then Brad Buxer decided to reuse
It's
it.
like joke.
No, I'm not gonna
But that kind of reminds me of with the limitations for audio and stuff. It kind of reminds me of Doom on the Atari Jaguar, where it doesn't have any music, and the reason is because they used up pretty much all the space for audio, for the music, for the video, for the game, so it looked as good as possible. And
They
that's
were
why
able to
this.
do that? I thought the like.
Well, I don't remember. There was I read a thing about it about one of the developers of the game.
There's still some limited memory.
There was something like that. It was something about limited memory or just using different, like not using the same exact like hardware for the cartridge, like using different things, so it pretty much all went into video. So it made it look as good as possible, which is good because like a majority of Doom ports in the 90s to consoles come from the Atari Jaguar version, like the 32X version, the Super Nintendo version. All of those are based off the Atari Jaguar version.
Don't those have audio?
Shut up.
Well, they didn't just add the audio in post.
I don't remember how it worked. There was you can read about it. I can't remember. It was from one of those developers. There was something about the way that the cartridge worked, I think, as well. Like because the Atari Jaguar was pretty.
Yeah, we're not experts in this topic. We're just like making stuff up based on what we've heard.
But see, all this I think comes back to why it's important to play older games, so you can experience the quirks that they had and the small differences that they could have in like different versions if they were released on different consoles. You know what I mean? I think it's important to get like a full picture, if you will.
And there's no microtransactions.
See that too. That's why they're better because like it actually comes with the whole game.
You
Well,
own the game.
what was the thing about like the shop in one of like the beat 'em ups?
Double Dragon 3.
Double Dragon.
Yeah, one of the
shop.
biggest criticisms for Double Dragon 3 when it first came out was the fact that at not the beginning of every level, but at the beginning of every level, but somewhere in every level, you were able to go into a shop and use more of your quarters to buy items,
Transactions.
lives, extra players, or to buy moves that you were able to do in Double Dragon 2 already at the beginning of that. So that was one of the biggest criticisms was why would you make people pay more for this? Like nobody wants that. And so that's why in the Japanese version it was completely removed. But the North American version it stayed because that's pretty much where they experimented with it. But then stuff like that didn't exist for a while afterwards. So that was definitely one of the things people hated most about the game.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise it's alright.
Diego, how much like retro games have you played? Because I don't know how much you've.
Like not any.
So
yeah, are you a real gamer?
Marty and Ashton, like, if you were to recommend a game to play or for gaming,
I wonder.
I mean, like retro, you know, like.
You should buy a Magnavox Odyssey if he's talking about retro.
Okay, not like that.
Yeah,
I meant like 80s.
Should I buy a Game & Watch?
Super Mario World.
Why is that?
Because it's like
I mean, it's a really good game. You know?
perfects most of the stuff from the other Mario games.
I think you should definitely try out like retro games. Like now that you have a Nintendo Switch, I mean, Nintendo Online kind of sucks, but like,
Yeah, no.
Well, freaking Nintendo, bro. They suck in general.
or you can just like enjoy it, you know. But you should
True.
try out the game.
I think another one though is
No.
probably something more simpler, like an arcade game.
Tetris.
This is also good.
It is.
Tetris
Yeah,
is
but
Tetris.
Tetris has barely changed in like the last
Tetris on
20
the
years.
TV.
Yeah.
Tetris 1984 edition.
George Orwell.
Big
What
Tetris is watching you. No, but I think you should also try more like just simple arcade games. You know, something like 1942 or like
Pac-Man.
Oregon Trail.
Galaga.
Oregon Trail.
that's not an arcade game, but that is a good one. Oregon Trail is
It's great.
peak gaming. That would be, but that too, because you're more of a computer guy.
You have stories with retro games, like raging and stuff.
Oh yeah, you rate it
Like
everything.
Tekken 3 when I threw my chair across my room.
You-
It felt great
what?
to do that for the first time.
Yeah, he
Your keyboard
freaking threw his
application.
chair. Like,
Oh my, yeah, my
did
yeah,
he like hit
exactly.
the wall or something and like
What?
burned the door or something like that? And, like,
My chair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I threw it across my room and it hit my my door, and I think it hit the wall and like there's a dent or something.
Now-
You should tell the full story.
Now listeners, this
It's
is
really not that long, but it's more just because I have so many. Or I've thrown my Wiimote at the wall.
Dude, Pooh Fisher.
The one he talked about is true, where I was playing Donkey Kong Country, the Game Boy Advance version, on my school computer at like 12 a.m. And I got super mad because I just could not beat King K. Rool, so I took the controller, I grabbed it by like this, and I just
Just a Marty thing to
swung
do.
it down on my keyboard, and a key came flying off, and now there's skid marks pretty much on my keyboard.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this
And
is
yes, there's obviously that sounds like, old game bad because hard.
Well, no,
But that's
it's
just because, like, the GBA version has differences, and also
It's
just
also
like,
Marty. Like,
and also I just get mad.
not
Yeah.
the average person isn't gonna do that. That's just Marty.
Yeah, I'm not average.
All right. Well, it seems like we've run out of things to talk about. So that concludes our first episode of the Marty Show.
Well.
San Diego, go f yourself.